Tonight on Ctv3 News, tragic confirmation, forensic analysis reveals American nationals died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Royal Kyle Beach Resort deeply grieves as investigation into tragic deaths of 3 American nationals unfolds. American tourist dies in tragic boat accident near Belize's Turnif atolls. 1 man is charged with manslaughter. And Belize to receive sterile flies to mitigate screwworm cases. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, March 26, 2025.
The New World screwworm poses a significant threat to livestock, pets, and humans. It can cause severe losses if not controlled quickly. Currently, it is not present in Belize. That is why early detection is crucial to prevent its spread. Let us help to keep it out. Don't bring animals from other countries illegally. If you notice maggots, larvae, or worms in unusual wounds, report them immediately. Call Baja at 824-4872 or text 670-7003. Together we can work to keep our country safe from the New World Screwworm and save animals. This message was brought to you by Baja, OIRSA, AICA, USDA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security, and Enterprise.
Good evening with your news also simulcast on Face FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. American nationals Qatar Naquad, Iman Mala, and Wafi El Arar died as a result of carbon monoxide poisoning. What was being speculated all along was officially confirmed today by the Belize National Forensic Science Service. This grim announcement was made by the executive director of the service, Jian Cho, during a press conference today, Wednesday, following an exhaustive toxicology analysis that extended over 3 weeks.
We did a screening for all commonly encountered drugs, illicit drugs, pharmaceutical medications. We also screened for carbon monoxide, as well as volatile gases. We screened for things like methane, propane, butane, ethane. We also screened for pesticides because we wanted to cover all the bases and try to rule out as many underlying intoxicants or poisons or drugs as possible. And the results indicate that the blood samples that we sent, as well as the tissue samples, did not reveal any illicit drug in the bodies of the 3 women. So no illegal drugs, no illicit drugs. And the results reveal that the 3 victims all had fatal exposure to carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide is being revealed, or has been revealed, as the contributing or the underlying exposure that led to the acute pulmonary edema, which was the final cause of death. We don't know what levels would have existed in the room at the time of exposure. But what I can tell you is from the toxicology test that we did, which you don't measure it as ppm, you measure it as percent saturation of carbon monoxide. A normal carbon monoxide test that is non-fatal for toxicology, you can have a normal result as high as about 3.5%, which is not fatal and you won't be sick. Smokers can have carbon monoxide levels, or carboxyhemoglobin is the technical term, saturation in their blood up to about 8%. And they function normal if you smoke cigarettes on a regular basis. Anything above 10% is where you start to experience adverse effects of carbon monoxide exposure, headaches, nausea, etc. 40% is typically the threshold where it becomes fatal. The victims had, one of them was about, I don't recall the exact numbers, but 60%. All of them had higher than 60% carboxyhemoglobin saturation levels. One of them had as high as 80% per saturation levels for carboxyhemoglobin, again, is what we call it. So to extrapolate that to what the ppm would be in the room at the time, that's some complicated analyses that we haven't done or would not be able to do at this time. But we can tell you that from the toxicology results, the levels were well above that 40%, which is what is considered fatal. And I'm not talking about carbon monoxide in the room. I'm talking about carbon monoxide in the bodies of the victims.
The victims were tragically discovered deceased on February 22nd at the Royal Kyle Beach Resort. Initial assessments had indicated that the cause of death was acute pulmonary edema, a condition characterized by fluid accumulation in the lungs, which was pending the results of the comprehensive toxicology report. When it comes to the carbon monoxide, in late February, Colin Gillett, chief of the Belize National Fire Service, told the media that 2 separate tests for the gas had yielded no evidence. And last week, Police Commissioner Chester Williams informed reporters that additional testing at the hotel was arranged. This decision followed feedback from former guests who reported detecting carbon monoxide during their stays. The department is still waiting for those results, according to Williams. But the question is, why is it that the initial test did not expose the gas?
From what I was made to understand, that the heater in the room um, is operated with the use of gas. And if the heater is left on, the gas escape into the room. So I would want to think that when they had gone to do the test following the discovery, the heater was off. And so if it was off, then there would be no exposure to carbon monoxide. The second time I went and did the test, I know that they had said that they were going to turn the heater on and leave it on for about 3 to 4 hours to see if in fact the room would develop that level of carbon monoxide that would be fatal. But like I said, we have not received the result of that test as yet.
With the results now, does this bring your investigation to a close, or what is left to be done?
Well, certainly from an investigative standpoint, carbon monoxide now being determined as the cause of death, it would not be, I don't think it would fall within the criminal domain. Nonetheless, we will still be forwarding the file to the Director of Public Prosecution with the findings, and then she's going to have the final determination as to whether or not she believes that the hotel can be held criminally liable. In the absence of that, then it would be a civil matter. The heater is not like what you would see in the US due to the cold weather. Our heaters that we use in Belize is due to cold water, and so the heater is to warm the water while you shower. So that's the heater.
Okay, so it wasn't anything they turned on then.
They do turn the gas on and off for that.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand. So in these rooms, they have a switch for the water heater?
I am not sure if it is a guest that would turn it on or the hotel itself, but it do have a mechanism that you can turn on and off.
And I know, again, Compol, you're not an engineer, but from the initial indications, it would appear this unit was malfunctioning, yes?
Certainly, yes, because they did other tests in other rooms, and the other rooms were well. That was the only room that did have the defect.
Of note is that the thorough examination encompassed tests for illicit drugs, a spectrum of pharmaceutical substances, as well as a volatile gas, including methane, propane, and butane, in addition to common environmental contaminants like pesticides. The results of this detailed analysis distinctly ruled out the presence of both illegal substances and pharmaceutical drugs within the bodies of the deceased. And in a statement today, the management and staff of the Royal Kyle Beach Resort expressed their profound sorrow over the tragic passing of the 3 young women on their property last month, extending heartfelt condolences to the families affected. In a statement released today, resort officials acknowledged the overwhelming grief that has enveloped the community and reiterated their commitment to ensuring the safety of all guests and staff. While the official cause of death remains under investigation, reports suggest that preliminary toxicology findings may indicate carbon monoxide poisoning as a potential factor. We are deeply saddened by this event, and our hearts continue to go out to the families of the young women during this incredibly difficult time. The statement read, "From the moment this isolated tragedy was discovered, we have taken all necessary precautions to ensure the safety and well-being of everyone on our property." The resort, which has been a staple for Belize's hospitality scene, temporarily closed its doors following the incident, but has since reopened for guests as of March 19th. In collaboration with the Belizean government, comprehensive evaluations of all units on the property have been conducted by authorities, confirming that there are no dangerous levels of carbon monoxide present. The Royal Cal Beach Resort has assured guests and the public that the safety of visitors is their top priority and emphasized their commitment to transparency during this challenging time. As mentioned, the Royal Cal Beach Resort temporarily closed its doors following the death of Qatar Naquad, Iman Mala, and Wafay El Arar, but has since reopened for guests as of March 19th. But will they remain open after results show that the victims died as a result of carbon monoxide poisoning?
I am sure that BTB and the Ministry of Health is going to look at this very closely now in light of the results that we have received. And you would know that under the Hoteliers Act, the hoteliers have an obligation to ensure that the hotel is kept in a safe and secure manner for those persons who are supposed to stay there. If a matter of fact, there is an annual inspection that must be done by the health inspector, and that report is sent to the Ministry of Health as well as to BTB. And if they do not pass that inspection, then that can lead to their license being suspended or revoked. So in light of this, there certainly do exist some health hazard. BTB and Ministry of Health will definitely do what needs to be done in ensuring that the hotel is not reopened until they are satisfied that that hazard that existed no longer exists. So it is something that they are going to take on.
A tragic boating accident on Sunday took the life of 70-year-old American tourist Jeffrey Labio as he snorkeled near the picturesque Turnif Atolls. The incident has prompted authorities to take swift action, arresting 28-year-old Spencer Einsberg, a U.S. national residing in Key, who is now facing charges of manslaughter by negligence in connection with the fatal event. According to Police Commissioner Chester Williams, the incident could have been easily avoided. He emphasized that the snorkeling area was clearly marked by tour guides with caution markers indicating the designated zones for tourists engaging in water activities. However, the boat involved in the accident sped through the marked area, striking Lebeau as he enjoyed the underwater wonders of Belize.
From my understanding is that the area where they were snorkeling, the tour guides had the area marked off as they would normally do to indicate that there is activity taking place there. And a boat came from nowhere and just ran through the place at very high speed and ran over the tourists, causing the tourists death. From what I am seeing based on what has been told to me, that is a clear case of causing death by careless conduct. I think at the very least, the boat captain should be charged for causing death by careless conduct. It is common knowledge to all of these tour operators that when you see certain things in the waters as markers, you have to avoid those areas because people are either diving or snorkeling there. And the tour operators who took out the tourists discharged their responsibility by making sure that they had marked off the place to indicate to any boat that would come in the area that that is an area where people are either diving or snorkeling. So this boat captain, who was not a part of that tour operator, ought to have seen the markers as an indication that he should not have gone through that area. So
Labio, a native of Southern California, was not only an avid waterman but also a distinguished lawyer with a long career in the legal field. Having served in both the Los Angeles District Attorney's and Public Defender's offices, he successfully tried over 80 jury trials and managed countless legal motions. For 25 years, he worked alongside his partner, Stephen Peacock, providing dedicated legal representation for every client. Late last week, the Belize Agricultural Health Authority, BAHA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security, and Enterprise, MAFSE, confirmed the 33 cases of New World Screwworm in Belize. At this time, there are 27 cases in Toledo, 4 in Cayo, 1 in the Belize District, and 1 in the Orange Walk District. New cases here in Belize have been detected in cattle, pigs, dogs, and one horse. Speaking on this current situation today, Prime Minister John Briceño confirmed that Belize has been confirmed to receive sterile flies, which will help the country to combat this ongoing problem.
No, I don't think it was an issue of that. First of all, they have agreed now that they're going to give us the flies, to the sterile flies, to be able to combat it. But what has happened is that why they were not giving us the flies immediately, simply because there's a bigger crisis in other parts of Central America. And I imagine that they felt that if they bring the flies here to stop it here, and you don't stop it over there, it'll still come to Belize. So they're trying to contain it over there. But now that they're seeing that it's starting to spread in Belize, they're making the sterile flies also available to Belize. And lastly, they had slowed down that program, so they do not have enough flies to issue. And so right now they are trying to ramp up the production of these flies.
Coming up next, we take a look at the Consumer Price Index for the first 2 months of 2025. Stay tuned.
Escape to paradise. Centaur is giving you the chance to win an unforgettable getaway at the breathtaking Orchid Bay Resort. Picture this: a stunning beach and a relaxing poolside retreat. One lucky winner will enjoy an overnight stay for two, plus a delicious breakfast, all courtesy of Orchid Bay Resort. How to enter? Sign up for any Centaur service or stay up to date with your payments for a chance to win. Live raffle draw on April 16th on Despierta Belize show. Enter now to win with Centaur.
Today, the Statistical Institute of Belize hosted its quarterly press conference where they highlight the economic outlook of the country for a particular given period of time. Today, we will hear from the SIB about Consumer Price Index for the first 2 months of 2025. For this period, Belizeans saw an inflation rate of 1.9% when compared to the same period last year. All major categories saw an increase during this period except for transport, which experienced a slight decrease of 1.8%.
Okay, so for the first 2 months of the year, the CPI index recorded an inflation rate of 1.9% in average compared to the same period in 2024. So that's what we saw in the report. So when we look at this closer, we can see that since 2020, February 2020, we've been experiencing inflation rates throughout the period. But as you see in the graph, it's normalizing. The inflation rates are being reduced a little bit. However, that doesn't mean that we do not have the effects of the rise of prices. There's a cumulative effect of the rise of prices that we can see. As we see in the chart from the all items index, it's continued to increase moving forward now.
The major contributors to the overall inflation rate during this period were food and non-alcoholic beverages, which was up by 2.4%.
As you can see, the weighted contribution to the inflation rate came from the top three, from food and non-alcoholic beverages, housing, water and electricity and gas, and transportation. The other categories also contributed a little bit, but those are the main ones that we're going to. The transportation index went up by 1%. Even though there was some positive news, we saw a slight decrease in the inflation of the fuels and lubricants for personal transport, but it wasn't enough to offset the increase on the rest of the categories that are represented under this index, as we saw increases in the passenger transport by road by 5.4%, attributed mainly to taxi services that increased by 13.8%. Passenger transport by air went up by 19.7%. Both domestic and international airfares increased. And parts and accessories for personal transport went up by 5.3%.
Across all municipalities, Belmopan experienced the highest rate of inflation of 4.5%, while Independence saw the lowest inflation rate at 0.8%. Corozal and Orange Walk saw inflation rates of 2.8 and 1.8% respectively.
Now, when we look at the inflation rate by municipalities, we see that the overall inflation rate for the country stands at 1.9%. Belmopan recorded for the period an inflation rate of 4.3%. Independence recorded the only negative inflation of 0.8%. And throughout the country, as you can see in the chart, we had inflation rates. And what contributed to the story in Belmopan is basically the same factors that we saw at the national level. Higher prices recorded in the food and non-alcoholic beverages, which increased by 4.3% in Belmopan. The opposite happened in Independence. Independence recorded lower prices in food and non-alcoholic beverages. It went down by 3.5%. So there was a shift there, and that's what happened in the inflation rate there.
We will take a look at other areas of economic outlook in Thursday's newscast. As we reported on Tuesday, the northern sugar industry is currently in the process of reviewing the final report of the Commission of Inquiry, which was carried out in late 2024. The commission, which was convened by the government of Belize, sought to review the entire process of sugar production from the fields to the mill in an effort to come up with concrete recommendations to modernize the industry. In speaking on his decision to move the sugar industry from under the Ministry of Agriculture to his office, Prime Minister John Briceño today cited this as the reason for the move. By giving the industry priority status under his office, PM Briceño says his hope is that government can move the industry towards the right direction.
I met with the farmers, we were the associations, the four of them, along with ESR, BSI, Ministry of Agriculture and Ctv3 to set up this task force to see how we could look at the Commission of Inquiry and the recommendations, see what can be applicable now, because we're in the crisis mode. But why is it that we took it on? Well, simply because I felt that we need to show that we're giving it the most important priority by having it under the office of the Prime Minister. And then I brought in Dr. Honorable Martinez, who is a trained economist and that can be able to give it the day-to-day attention, and then working along with us that we could be able to hopefully steer it through this existential threat that is going through at this time.
PM Briceño today also spoke about his expectations on the incoming negotiations between BSCFA and ASR for a new commercial agreement, as the interim document, which was signed in 2024, will expire at the end of the crop season.
And are you concerned about what can happen in this year in particular, given that a new agreement needs to be negotiated between BSCFA and BSI?
Well, I think that BSCFA, the leaders are realizing that we could be continuing this fighting back and forth, and we might be fighting over nothing. So it's important that we be able to look at the industry as a whole and what is in the best interest of everyone and not individual. As it is right now, BSCFA, Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association, is going through an existential threat themselves, because right now they've been refusing to sign the fair trade. And there's a lot of monies that goes to the farmers, and because of that, they are members of which I am a member of that association. We're not getting the other help by signing on to fair trade, which farmers desperately need.
An invitation is being extended to all residents of Corozal, Orange Walk, and surrounding villages to make their way to the Corozal Junior College grounds on Friday, March 28, for the biennial CJC Business and Trade Expo. The all-day event will feature more than 50 visiting businesses as well as 31 student booths, promoting a wide range of products including food, beverages, and pastries.
Which will be held on March 28, 2025. And this is an institutional project that has been going on for quite some time. The goal of this project is to bridge the gap between entrepreneurship in the real world and education, because ultimately the students, they get different practices, different pieces of information during the time that they're here with us, but ultimately we want them to be able to be competent when they enter what is the world of business, the world of science, all these things that they have to apply the skills that they have acquired. No? So it definitely has the intention of bridging the gap that sometimes there may exist. No? This particular year, we're going to have 31 groups of students, and it's basically in different categories. You have students who will be putting together projects on food, products and services, desserts. And so what happens is that the students have to go through the entire process of pretty much building a business. It is not a one-day project. It is something that they've been working on from 2024. So it's basically a year working on this project. And they have been given guidance and tools in every part of what is business building, if you want to put it that way. From coming up with their product, from ensuring that they have their budget, to how they're going to source their raw material, everything they've been guided, they've been under the guidance of their teachers, no?
The event, according to Joanna Magana, who is a teacher at the institution, seeks to widen the academic scope for their students through interactions with the community and other businesses.
And so apart from that, during the expo and trade show, there are going to be about 50 invited businesses that are institutions that give our visitors the opportunity to network and to access a number of services. Some of these businesses fall under the categories of NGOs, institutions, service providers, institutions that provide certain services, even local and national business houses, which I believe they will also be offering special deals. And, everybody wants a special deal. So we want people to come and visit the booths of these wonderful businesses that are part of this project. I want to also mention that the idea behind this is, generally speaking, to bridge that gap. But it is important to note that it's still a summative assessment for our students, because it's all their preparation that culminates into this project. So it is them being tested for a better assessed, evaluated. And apart from that, they also have two competitions or two categories that they also vie for the best booth and also the group that has the best uniforms. That is just part of having a healthy competition, which is part of the business world, right? Being competitive. And apart from that, also the points that the students receive during this event, the groups with the highest points, the first and second, they get a first and a second place, and they get a little prize and recognition and bragging rights. Everybody wants that opportunity to brag about having excelled at such a very competitive event, no?
In addition to the business aspect of the event, the institution is also looking forward to the science presentations, which will be on display for visitors throughout the entire day.
And in the science department, there are about 200 students, science students, who basically participated in 40 projects, 22 demonstrations, and 18 experiments. And they have been working on this for quite some time, again from 2024, whereby we have 3 disciplines. you have physics, chemistry, and biology. And so students who, especially, it's interesting because our students have an opportunity to present to the general public what they have been working with and working on. And for them, it is one of those moments where, because they're all at this very moment aspiring scientists and people who have this immense curiosity for the sciences, for them, it gives them an opportunity to explore and do something that they're very passionate about, you know, and it gives them the opportunity to have that scientific experience of understanding and appreciating what is experimental work, whether it fails, whether it's a success, the patience that is required in the field of science for them to actually be able to achieve that end result that they have. So you find that they have been looking at biomedical engineering, sustainability, alternative sources of energy. And so these are things that they have been able to work on. No? And so it's fantastic to see the students in action in that manner, you know, because they're all over the place right now. Right now, if you would walk past our walkways, you see them with that skill saw, you see them with different pieces of equipment trying to get these projects to work, you know, because they want to put their best foot forward for the people who are going to come visit.
Coding and the different aspects of technology and mathematics will also be in full display during Friday's event, together with the school's primary education program, who is inviting guests to an exciting day of learning, creativity, and fun.
We all use technology. Right now we're using technology, but personally, sometimes we're not aware, we're not conscious of the effort and the work that goes into it, you know. And so you find that in their case, they're trying to create this awareness and to expose students, specifically in this case, they will be working with primary school students. And what will happen is that the students will be paired off with computer science students, and they will be engaging in fun and interactive activities so that the students have an opportunity to see what happens within the programming, within the actual function that these pieces of technology have, you know, something that, again, like I said, and I reiterate, we just use the phone, we just use the laptop, and we don't even give it a second thought, you know. And so that is what they will be doing for the expo. And with the teacher education program or the primary education program, we are inviting everybody to be here to be part of a learning and creative process. They will be presenting innovative teaching ideas, engaging activities, and they're going to try to be presenting inspiring projects for future educators. So this gives people who plan or who are trying to break through into what is education as a career, this would be a perfect opportunity for them to be able to see this in action.
For those who want to have a day to immerse in good company and culture, CJC Expo and Trade Show also has a perfect event for you.
We also have a beautiful exhibit that has been put together by the Humanities Department. Now, the Humanities Department is a department that basically gives you the opportunity to use the name itself says it, right? Your humanity. It encompasses languages, it encompasses social sciences, even research methods is grouped together with all these other fields or disciplines. And so what happened is that we decided that because our programs, or rather our courses, are designed to be a little bit different, you find that while we do some traditional assessment, a lot of our pieces are creative alternative assessments. So we found out that our students are writing poetry, they are writing short stories, they are painting, they're doing all these artistic pieces. And so we decided to put together an exhibit that allows us to see that humanistic part of it, of their experience. The name of the activity is actually Culture, Coffee and Cookies, the Perfect Blend. And I think you being in this field that you're in, you definitely know what it feels like to have a great mug of coffee, to have cookies and good culture around you. And so we're going to be presenting our students pieces of work, and it's a curated exhibit because it all revolves around culture, but not the idea of culture in terms of us. This is our identity and whatnot, but rather the social perspectives of culture.
So if you're looking for a special deal before the Easter holidays or just looking for a fun activity for the entire family, you are invited to visit the CJC campus on Friday, March 28th, starting at 9 a.m. As we have reported recently, the Trump administration has warned government officials in the region that they might lose their U.S. visas if they keep supporting what they call forced labor by the Cuban brigades. The U.S. government argues that these missions enrich the Cuban regime. Belize has been welcoming these medical missions from Cuba for a long time, with doctors, nurses, and other medical staff coming to work here for a while. Prime Minister John Braceno today spoke on this matter, reiterating that Belize stands behind its Cuban counterparts.
Well, it's unfortunate that that has happened, and the U.S. present administration have their own politics when it comes to that matter. But we stand by Cuba. Cuba has been a good friend of ours and for the Caribbean. And we've all said that, we've been talking to American officials and explaining to them. Certainly in Belize, our position has been completely different, that we pay them directly, we don't pay the government. And so we've been explaining that to the officials in the U.S. government, and okay, they understand, and I think they have eased the position there when it comes to Belize.
Last thing.
Since last week, all indications have been that Commissioner of Police Chester Williams will soon be transitioning to the Ministry of Transport as CEO. On Monday, Compo Williams confirmed that he is awaiting finalization on that move. And while the Compo confirmed his move to the ministry, he also hinted that he has other ambitions. Prime Minister John Braceno today also spoke on this upcoming move, saying that the addition of Chester Williams to the Ministry of Transport is expected to help move that department and others within the ministry forward. As to Williams' political aspiration, PM Braceno says he will leave that up to the people.
There has to be a transition period. Now, whether if it's going to be 1 month or 2 months, we're still trying to work that out. And again, I want to put on record my deep appreciation to Commissioner Williams for the extraordinary work that he did. And I mean that sincerely. Sometimes, people just say things to say, but he has done an extraordinary job in policing. I think been the most successful commissioner of police that we've had, certainly in modern history. But it's time to move on, and we need to be able to look at the issue of transport. The Ministry of Transport needs some serious attention on how we can modernize that department. Look at now we have better roads, people speed more, so we have to try to see how we can control that. Looking at the buses, looking at all of these things, so it's quite a challenge.
Do you think he could handle the indigenous portfolio?
Well, I'm sure he will. I mean, he has spent a lot of time in the Toledo district, not only as a young police officer, but even as commissioner, whenever they have their issues. So I do think that if you can handle police, I think you can handle it with the indigenous affairs.
What about political ambitions? If there's redistricting, political ambitions, is there a place for him in the party in Sun Creek West if it's split up?
Well, I would not put it at any area, but we always have place for good people. I think that Chester Williams is a good person, a good Belizean, and I think that he could also do good in public service. He's been doing public service all his life, so it'd be an easy transition should that happen. And if he were to decide that's what he wants to do, But at the end of the day, it's the people what decide that.
And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Get the most out of your internet with Centaur's ExpressNet. Are you ready to supercharge your online experience? When connecting to your Velo Mesh device, make sure you're linked to our blazing fast 5 GHz frequency. Why 5 GHz? Faster speeds at a shorter range. 5 GHz is perfect for use in smaller spaces where speed is your top priority. As for the 2.4 GHz, while connection may travel farther, it can lead to slower performance. Remember, choose 5 GHz for your devices and experience the difference instantly. ExpressNet, bringing you the best speeds for the ultimate online experience. For more information, contact us at 380-0101.
Leader of the opposition, Tracy Tager Panton, has officially announced the appointment of 3 new senators. Former Deputy Prime Minister Patrick Faber will serve as the lead senator, accompanied by attorney Sheena Pitts and young political figure Gabriel Zetina. The swearing-in ceremony for the newly appointed senators is set to take place during the next Senate session, although the exact date has yet to be revealed. Patrick Faber, who recently faced a defeat in the general election to the People's United Party PUP candidate Devon Daly, is set to bring his extensive experience back into the political arena. In a statement from the UDP, Faber's appointment was framed as a vital step towards advancing democratic values and national development while within the Senate. Faber now brings his leadership and experience to the Senate, where he is expected to champion democratic values and national development, the statement read. Joining Faber is Sheena Pitts, an accomplished attorney and civic leader known for her commitment to social justice and constitutional integrity. The UDP emphasized her significance in the role, highlighting her past experiences that include serving as chairperson of the Labor Complaints Tribunal and as a commissioner on the People's Constitution Commission. Pitts returns to the Senate with a powerful voice of justice, equity, and constitutional integrity, the party noted. Completing the trio is Gabriel Zetina, a young and dynamic entrepreneur hailing from San Pedro and Burgess Key. Stylifying his political ambitions, Zetina previously ran as a candidate in the 2024 municipal elections and has taken on leadership roles within the UDP's campaign for the recent general elections. The appointment of these 3 senators is seen as a strategic effort by the UDP to strengthen its role as the opposition party in Belize, providing a robust platform to challenge the ruling government's policies and priorities. As the UDP prepares for the swearing-in ceremony, the party looks forward to the contributions of its new senators as they navigate the political landscape of Belize, advocating for the values and needs of their constituents. Belize's innovative Blue Bonds initiative has taken a significant leap into the global spotlight as the first episode of the new PBS documentary series, The Future of Nature, premiered today. This groundbreaking series aims to explore the intricate role of carbon in Earth's ecosystems and features Belize's remarkable conservation finance model, which not only safeguards its precious marine ecosystems, but also addresses national debt. The inaugural episode, entitled Oceans, highlights Belize's unique approach to marine conservation, showcasing the Belize Nature Bonds project and its positive impact on both local communities and the environment. Julie Robinson, a key figure behind the Belize Nature Bonds initiative, is prominently featured in the episode, offering viewers insights into the country's progressive strategies for conservation. Narrated by Academy Award-nominated and Golden Globe-winning actress Uma Thurman, The Future of Nature invites viewers on a captivated journey to understand the significance of carbon in our planetary systems. Through a blend of compelling scientific insights and breathtaking visuals encompassing oceans, grasslands, forests, and urban landscapes, the documentary brings to life the often invisible element of carbon. Audiences will have the chance to see how animals, plants, and human beings are interconnected through carbon and will be introduced to groundbreaking solutions that could play a crucial role in stabilizing our changing environment. Produced by Brian Leith Productions, this four-part series brings together a diverse array of experts, including climatologists, ecologists, indigenous leaders, and economists from around the globe. Their narratives illustrate how nature itself is striving to rebalance the Earth's delicate system and heal our planet. For Belizean viewers and nature enthusiasts alike, the Oceans episode, along with all episodes of The Future of Nature, will be available for free online on the PBS website for 1 week following its initial broadcast, offering a unique opportunity to engage with these important discussions on environmental stewardship. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, March 24th here on Ctv3 News and Face FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening tonight.